Art Against Mental Illness.
I recognise that I'm not very consistent at this podcast at the best of times. I may go weeks or even months without producing anything, then drop a bunch on you all at once. This is not by design, as I'm sure is apparent. It's just how I'm wired. I initially started this with the intention of putting out one episode a week, and I think I managed that, give or take a day or two, for a while. But shit happens, life gets in the way, my mental health waxes and wanes, as do my motivation levels. My mind is never too far from this though. Like my art, it is now a thread, or maybe a fulcrum, through my life. It works like a diary and a sounding board. I'm always at my best when in broadcast mode, in front of a mic or an audience spewing whatever tickles my pickles at a particular moment. Two-way communications are generally fraught and taxing for me, but I love to talk, so I channel it through my laptop into your ears. This podcast might be shouting into the void, but at least I'm shouting, or at least monologuing at a comfortable mid-range. But as I say, not very consistently. Sometimes I lack the time or motivation or momentum, but what I never lack is ideas. A quick scan of my ideas folder, where I store notes from my potential episode themes, shows that it currently has 20 items in it. I have a couple of others in my work in progress folder. Those are just the ideas that are well formed enough and available to my rarely reliable memory when I'm in front of my laptop. A lot of fun things to monologue about frequently occur to me, and many are lost shortly after to the colander that is my memory. No, I'm not going to run out of potential material anytime soon, and probably never will. Yet it's been a couple of weeks since I recorded or released anything. I don't lack the motivation, I'm raring to record. I'm not lacking time, even though my episodes take a fair amount of time to write, record and edit, especially these scripted ones. But the thing is, to get one of these over the line, I've got to feel it. I've got to want to talk about that thing. To be clear, I want to talk about all the things on my list. That's why they're there. But I got to want to talk about that thing at that moment. I've got to have the vibe. My approach to any given theme varies, but I generally have to do some research and planning for my scripted episodes. Yes, when I'm out and about, something occurs to me that I need to get out of my brain, then I just hit record and talk it out there and then. But some ideas, some threads, some themes need a bit more love, more consideration, more context to bring the concept to life, a well-formed structure to do justice to a difficult or thorny subject. Some themes are more contentious or controversial and need a more delicate treatment, which takes time to get right. For example, I got halfway through an episode about not getting caught up in the optimization cycle, particularly when promoting and selling your work. The trap of pumping out work and content that you think the audience or algorithms want to see. I'm fairly clear on the point I'm trying to make on that episode, but I'm not confident that the way I've chosen to make it is balanced, fair and considerate, which is what I always try to be. On rereading it, I seem to be demonising or otherwise chastising creators just trying to eke out a basic existence, which is not at all the point I want to make. I pondered this for a while, and I'm not confident that I have a way to reframe it that I'm satisfied will make my point without dumping on folks who don't deserve it. So I put it aside and will revisit it. My momentum is lost, my mojo murkied. I'm not feeling it anymore. I will most likely get the feels back at a later date. That was going to be my next episode, so I'm back to square one, and over a week since my last episode, I'm both feeling twitchy to get on and lacking a direction and focus for that twitch. So I delve into my ideas folder and see if there's anything in there that I'm feeling right now. Tumbleweed. It's a lifelong problem for me and a common trait for the ADHD brain that I struggle to engage with any task that doesn't, at that moment, interest me. I need to feel it. The need to feel it isn't a creative whim or a yearning for the muse or a lack of discipline. It's intrinsic. Sure, I could try and coerce, cajole or otherwise browbeat myself into knocking out something from my list, and maybe I'll manage it, but the chances that the result will end up to the standard that I require for my work is minimal. It all but guarantees that I'll half-arse it, and I'd rather produce nothing at all than do that. Quality control is important to me. I may produce artworks that are substandard, but they don't see the light of day. The same goes for this podcast. If literally no one listened to this, the same would still apply. It's not a matter of pride or work ethic or anything like that. It's closer to a mortal fear of failure and ridicule and a deep-seated distaste for criticism. It's not just a weird quirk either. I was made like this. A lifetime of being told I'm doing it all wrong has left me a little fragile on the getting it right front. It's also why I don't have a nice, neat, planned schedule to just work through, and why my episode series are often released randomly. The most recent episode of my How to Be Creative series arrived a full year after the previous one. I just wasn't feeling it until I was. There are more of those to come when the right feels come my way, sometime between now and the heat death of the universe. Anyway, I've got to feel it, and as far as the optimization episode went, I didn't. So I did what I always do when I find myself stuck. I went for a walk. While trudging through the murky, muddy, maudlin Scottish outback, I recorded an episode of another podcast that I listened to a couple of days earlier that had kicked off a few related themes that I wanted to explore. So I fired up my recorder app and monologued my thoughts on these, which I transcribed when I got home. 3 ideas that, to one degree or another, I was feeling. They gave me that warm, nervous tightness in my belly. When I started riffing on each theme, the thoughts just came tumbling out like when a magician pulls a beaded necklace from their puckered lips. Here's the themes. Number 1. Talking to yourself. How we encode our life stories into our creations. How, when introspection is hard, we can learn about ourselves now by looking at our creations then. Number 2. Quiet revolutions. How we can express big ideas even if we feel we have a small voice. How to change the world with a whisper rather than a shout. How sometimes a murmur is the best and perhaps the only way to make a statement. Number 3. Be a magpie. The wonder and effectiveness of being eclectic and resourceful. The value of hoarding both ideas and items. Loving it. Some corkers there. Let's get started, I thought to myself, and then didn't. I thought I would start the first one, on introspection, but I wanted to find some examples of real creators whose portfolio reads autobiographically. So I did some research and found a load. Suddenly I didn't feel so confident. Lots more research was needed to find the right examples to bring my points to life. I'll come back to that one, I figured. One of the other 2 should be a bit easier to just bang out. Next on the list, quiet revolutions. This has got to be a rich vein, right? Would benefit from some examples too. 20 examples later and I had that similar overwhelmed feeling. So I found myself on item 3, about being a magpie. Looking back on my notes for this one, it's definitely a different vibe, but I was mostly dribbling on about making some shelves and how I'm a pathological hoarder. All pertinent, but hardly a fully formed narrative, and not much else in there of much use. Bugger. In my head, I'd got 3 fully formed zingers ready to roll. Just tidy up, embellish, enrich, chuck in some examples, good to go. The reality was somewhat less enticing. 3 solid starting points, but lots of prep work to be done, lots of thinking and reading and plotting, and suddenly I'm not feeling it anymore. What is this? Laziness? Option paralysis? Writer's block? All of the above? None of the above? Does it really matter? Suddenly I'm cleaning up my office that didn't need doing, and making an over-engineered meal for my family, and hacking away at bits of wood in my workshop. Not writing, not recording, just elaborately procrastinating. Is this bad, I asked myself? I mean, I'm under no obligation, other than those I made to myself, to produce episodes regularly. Yes, it's kind of important from an engagement perspective, and there's an implicit agreement between me and both my listeners that I publish something at least semi-regularly. It's only been a couple of weeks, ain't no thing. Probably no one will notice. Except for me. I'll notice. Now, I'm perfectly capable of giving myself a break. The summer of 2024 sent me into a psychological tailspin, documented in episode 13 from September that year on fighting back. I was well aware during that period that A, I should be releasing stuff, and more importantly B, I should give myself a fucking break and some time to heal. I was just not functional to the level necessary to do this anyway. This was not about saying to myself, take a break mate, you deserve it. It was more like, don't beat yourself up about not being able to do this. Give yourself a break. I'm perfectly fucking capable of doing this right now. I may be hungover or being hassled by some old lady to do something I don't want to do, or having to organise art events or skulking in my studio, but I'm mentally capable of doing this and could easily carve out some time to do so. I know this because here I am creating an episode about not being able to create an episode. I know, how very meta, how very sophisticated and la-di-da. Next, I'll be wanging on about the metaphysics of asynchronous communication, or extolling the genius of Lars von Trier movies or some such bollocks. No, this is not sophistication, this is not meta. This is just me doing it because, Alex, just get on and fucking do it. Stop vegetating and stewing in the juices of the Olympic curling and write something down on that shitty laptop of yours. If you're going to procrastinate, mate, do it productively. Now, I could definitely shimmy this into a think piece about the virtues of procrastination. I will almost certainly do an episode on the vices and virtues of procrastination at some point, because it's already right there on my bastard list. I will procrastinate the shit out of that one until one day between now and my inevitable extinction. And on one no doubt cold and gloomy day, I will feel it and spew out some similarly angst-saturated self-indulgent brain fartery. No, I'm not going to glorify this. And what, after all, is there to fret about? I'm right here writing something. Get the hell off my back, for fuck's sake. Sometimes you just got to do something, anything. My studio is cold and damp and nothing is drying. Go listen to the last episode and hear me lamenting this. Painting is no fun right now. Well, the type of painting that I generally like to do. What am I doing instead? Stuff, that's what, and proudly so. I spend hours dribbling paint down canvases or carving ragged grooves into pieces of wood. It's also gloriously purposeless and just so damn relaxing. I've been banging on since literally episode 1 of this podcast about my belief that process is the only part that really matters. The stuff that I'm doing right now is pretty much pure process, undirected, meandering, purposeless, including this episode. But wait! A purpose leaks out whether I liked it or not. My plan was just to write and do that by noting my lack of purpose and just to see where it took me. There's a quote that was allegedly from Michelangelo, which is probably apocryphal, which goes something like, "I saw the angel in the marble and carved until I set him free." Basically, the angel, or presumably just as easily a dog or a ham hock or whatever, was always in the slab of stone. He just randomly chipped and sanded the stone away, and that's what emerged. Okay, so crassly, poetically metaphorical, but useful in its way. Sometimes you just gotta do something, anything. Sometimes you end up with a block of wood or stone with unsightly chunks hacked out of it, or a brown mess on a canvas, or 2,500 words of self-indulgent drivel. Sometimes you get the ham hock. Sometimes you get the angel. I suspect that this episode is the ham hock. I'll find out, I guess, when I start reading it, which is now. How very fucking meta. Now that my point is clearly and articulately made, I'll allow myself a brief corollary before I leave you in peace. The technologically minded among you might have asked yourselves, why did he not just get AI to write the episode for him? And you'd be right, it didn't occur to me to do that because it never will. Getting AI to write your creative shit is both wrong and stupid. Environmental and other ethical issues aside, getting AI to draft emails or filling out tedious corporate documents or presentations is perfectly acceptable. Using LLMs to help reduce the friction of the process and the delivery of your creative works is, in most cases, fine. There are some huge caveats here, but I use AI to help summarise voice notes, do research, help with grammar. Listen to the episode titled My Words a few episodes back for more info on my struggles with the written word and why I sometimes need AI. But getting AI to write your creative works for you so far misses the point that you should probably just stop right now because you don't get it. You should also probably not listen to this podcast. This is because the value of creativity from a mental health perspective is precisely in the doing. And using AI is manifestly not doing. Anyone who thinks the end product is the only thing that matters fundamentally has misunderstood what creativity is. Even if I did think using AI was okay, I simply wouldn't, because AI writing, despite being usually technically perfect, is terrible. Bland, artless and mind-numbingly average. Without significant instruction to sound otherwise, all AI speak sounds the same. Washed out corporate word wank. Even if you can cajole it to adopt a style or affectation, it just reads like bland with an accent. I've tried, experimentally, to get AI to write in my voice. An initial scan of such text sometimes superficially sounds like me, but a closer inspection always has me screaming, I would never say that, and I would definitely not say it like that at my inert and uncaring laptop screen. But even this misses the point. I really did let the main body of this episode just emerge. It came tumbling out of my fingertips in a single session with zero pre-planning. I just started writing and this is what came out. I learned something about myself while writing this. I learned something about the world while writing this. Nothing epoch-defining, nothing groundbreaking, just those little discoveries that you make daily while washing the dishes or trying to visualise infinity, perhaps at the same time. Those moments matter because they define everything that we are as humans. We spend so much of our lives busying ourselves with stuff and things and not really experiencing life, not noticing it. Those moments, feverishly tapping words into a laptop or scribbling on a piece of paper or slathering a canvas with paint, those moments are pure experience. To dedicate those to the inert mathematical artifact that is an AI model feels a bit like getting someone else to do the do with your other half, or buying an automated dog stroker, or going out for a posh dinner and paying someone else to eat the food for you. Yes, there are countless other reasons to not use generative AI, some of it obvious and objective, some of it depends on your personal perspective, ethical sensitivities and appetite for trade-offs. The actual capability of the models is also highly disputable. I've got many thoughts on this. Some of these I've already documented in my 2 prior AI will not replace you episodes. This is not a debate that's going to go away anytime soon. What concerns me here and now, and regardless of your stance on the existence and ethics of these entities, is what you, personally, lose from delegating the best bit to a fake consciousness. And just in case you thought I really did half-ass this episode and get an AI to do it for me, I had an LLM write the closing thoughts for this episode and used a cloned version of my actual voice to perform it. This should put any such suspicions to bed. Take it away, fake Alex. So, look, the point stands. Creativity is the doing, not the done. You lose yourself in the process and sometimes discover something worth keeping. Sometimes you end up with a pile of shite. Either way, you've experienced something, learned something, felt something. Outsource that to mathematical parlor trick and you've missed the entire fucking point. Now piss off and make something, anything. See what tumbles out.
Art Against Mental Illness.